Today's episode is all about rat apocalypse. Rat apocalypse. Wow. Rat apocalypse. What does that mean? That means you have a huge infestation. And whose fault is it? Well, stay tuned as you're going to find out soon. And also, an FYI, there are going to be a lot of mic drops today. So just kind of be forewarned of, what could happen. Who knows why that's going to happen? And also, you could have some family pets. Stay tuned. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to PWD Allies podcast. My name is Brent Frayne. I'm the host. Today, I am joined with Neil Matheson, my editor-producer, and we're going to be talking about the rat apocalypse, David Eby's rat apocalypse. And why are we talking about rats today? I mean, family pets. You could have family pets running amongst your units, going in between the walls, and who knows where else they're going to end up. I mean, mice, rats. I mean, wow. How come this is happening? Well, stay tuned on today's episode as we're going to be diving into why this is happening, and a lot of mic drops, like I said at the intro. Why is there going to be mic drops? Well, you'll find out. So, Neil, what's going on with rats in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, I hesitated to talk about this. I wrote an email to the government a few days ago. I think it was on Monday, about the rat infestation problem in my building. I wrote to Gary Begg, and I wrote to Eleanor Sturko. And they're Eleanor Sturko is the shadow minister for public safety here in BC,
Okay.
right? She's the official opposition critic for public safety, and Gary Begg here is the BC minister for public safety here, right? And so I wrote an email because it's pissing me off. I have to tell you, Brent, it's pissing me off. I mean, I'll give people a bit of a backstory. Is that I've been in my condo now since 2005, so
Okay.
About 20 years, and the building was 10 years old when I moved in, so it's 30 years old now.
Wow.
And we were lucky enough when we moved in 2005 with my first wife. It was the original owner, and we got a really good deal on it. Like that was when mortgage rates were good, and the prices of real estate were pretty good.
Oh yeah.
So we were able to scoop this place up, and I've been living here for 20 years, and it's been good. And there hasn't been any problems with mice or rats up until it was it was right at the end of 2019. There, what happened was, here we have fireplaces. We have gas fireplaces here in this condo, and around 2019, I had some little field mice crawl in through the chimney of my fireplace, and there was a few other owners here as well that had the same thing, and and once you get, and they were just cute little field mice for the most part, right? I mean, there's still a problem, and you want to get rid of them for sure, because rats and mice are like rabbits, right? They just reproduce like there's no tomorrow, right? And so again, this was back at the end of 2019, and like I was very proactive, and I dealt with the issue right away. We called a pest control guy, an exterminator guy, and they brought the poisons in, and problem solved. No problems at all for until about 2022. And I'll tell you, this is where it all changes, Brent. This is where it all changes, because for people that don't know, then this is an important point here, and I made notes. So I'm just going to refer to my notes here. It was back in it was July 21st of 2021. Okay, so this was just before we started having issues with rats and mice again in very early 2022. In July 2021, here in BC, the BC government introduced a temporary ban on something called second generation anticoagulant rodenticides. So I'll say that again: second generation anticoagulant rodenticides, or they're called SGARs.
Good times.
Yeah. So these second generation anticoagulant rodenticides, what they do, and it sounds kind of gross, but what they do is they're very, very effective poisons, and basically what they do is they basically cause the rats and mice to bleed out internally and die, and basically shrivel up, and basically, and all that's left of them is basically their hides. And eventually their hides shrivel up and go away too. But yeah, extremely effective poisons. You only need one small dose, and they're gone. Like they're end of story. They're gone, right? So very, very effective. And the other good thing about these SGARs, these second generation anticoagulant rodenticides, the nice thing about them too is they're transmissible. So what happens in that case is, a rat or a mice will eat the poison, and they'll go to their nest of other friends in the family, their other rat or mice friends, and they transmit the poison to them. And so all of the rat or mice in the nests will die. Extremely effective, these SGARs. Like, if you have a rat and mice problem, you put a little bit of that out, and your rat and mice problem goes away immediately. And so very, very good tool to have in the toolbox for a rodent, a pest control company, right? You want to have that hammer in your toolbox to deal with rats and mice, right?
Yeah, an infestation. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, when I originally had the field mice come down on my chimney in 2019, they had those SGARs at their disposal. So the mice were gone. They were end of story, no problem. But what
coming down the chimney, folks?
Yeah, and then what happened is the BC government, in its infinite wisdom, decided let's ban these SGARs because they're too poisonous.
Oh.
And you can I have to say, the reason what was happening was, everybody knows that owls are a primary predator on rats and mice, right? Mm-hmm. And what was happening is remember I told you that these SGARs are very transmissible, mm-hmm. and the poison doesn't dissipate right away. So what was happening is that there were some owls that were eating the poisoned rats or mice, and then the owls were dying, and you can say, well, that's sad, that's that's really bad, and you can say, yeah, it is unfortunate, it is bad, but you know, what's the alternative? I'll tell you what the alternative is to ban them. And we literally have a situation now in my building of the beaches of Normandy, where we have like like a horde of rats and mice outside of our building now.
Oh.
And because the BC government has taken these SGARs off the market for even pest control companies, pest control companies aren't allowed to use these anymore. So when our guy comes and he's been coming twice a month. So every 2 weeks he comes and fills up all the bait stations, and we got a lot around the whole building. We got tons. They're huge bait stations full of poison. Yeah. And guess what? The mice eat the poison and they don't die. They eat the poison and they don't die.
Whoa. Holy.
You know, can you imagine having poison and the rats and mice don't die? You know you know how much poison they have to consume, Brent?
Tons.
They have to eat like 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 times. I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
The pest control guy that we have, he's super great. He told me the whole rundown that basically these rats or mice have to gorge themselves. They have to come back to the traps 8 or 9 or 10 times before they even die. And even then they might not die, because you know what happens, of course, is that maybe by the time they eat the 7th or 8th time, the poison will leave their body, so that they'll be dazed for a while. Like maybe they'll be zombified for a couple days, and then it'll leave their system, and then they'll go back eating the poison again, no problem. You know, so you got all these rats and mice that are eating poison, and they aren't dying. They aren't dying, Brent.
Wow, that's just totally messed up.
They aren't dying. So you got rats and mice eating poison, and they aren't dying. So guess what happens? You get more and more population of rats and mice in buildings.
Major infestation.
And we're one building, Brent. We're one building amongst, I don't know how many condos are there in the province? Maybe about 20,000 condo buildings or something like that. Like I looked up some numbers. I'll give you some rough numbers again. I'm just guessing rough numbers here, about 20,000 apartments maybe, but in the province of BC there's approximately 900,000 units. So that means 900,000 individual strata apartments, right?
Oh man.
Of like, you know, either they're condos or they might be townhouses, you know, but there's 900,000 of these apartments in BC. And we have to also say that that strata residents, like I'm part of a strata, and what a strata is, it's basically a collective ownership of property in a building. So like, you know, in my condo, there's 39 units, and I own one, and there's 38 other owners, and collectively we are part of a strata because it's a collectively owned building. And the owners, if you're part of a strata, like I'm on Strata Council. I've been on Strata Council for the last 5 years, and my job right now, I've been a Strata Council vice president for the last 3 years, and my job on Strata Council is to basically protect the health and safety and happiness of all the other owners here, or renters. There's 10 units that are rented out as well. So again, so we have 39 units, 10 are rented out, and the rest of them have the actual owners living in the building.
Okay.
And I think you know as well is that when you have a strata corporation, a strata property, you also have something called the building manager that comes in, and they help like we pay strata fees, something called strata fees every month, and the building management company helps to manage the big ticket items in the building. One of those being pest control, because I'm on council, I've been entrusted to basically handle that part of the file. I'm the main contact for the pest control company, and we started to see a problem, an uptick of the rat and mice problem, like I said, in 2022. So we changed our pest control company because the other guys were idiots. They didn't tell us anything. And so we changed the pest control company, and these guys are great. And we also upped the service to like I said, twice a month. So every 2 weeks, the guy comes, fills tons of bait stations, and full of poison. Like I said, full of poison. And like I said, these rats and mice are not dying. Now, luckily, they're staying. For the most part, they're staying outside of the building. They haven't really infiltrated the building yet. The operative word is yet. They haven't entered the building yet. Although I have to say, we have heard them in the walls, Brent. I have heard them in the walls now too. So they're I haven't actually witnessed them in my place, but you can hear them in the walls at night sometimes.
Oh boy.
So they have gained entry into the building. They're in the walls, and they're eating poison, and they're not dying, Brent. I have to say that again. They're not dying. And again, we'll go back to these SGAR ban, these anticoagulant ban on all these harsh poisons. Guess how many provinces are banning these SGARs, Brent? How many? In BC, how many provinces are banning these SGARs?
That is a very good question. I'm guessing none.
There's one province that's banning them, and that's BC.
That's it?
BC is the only one in all of Canada, the only province or territory in all of Canada to officially ban the SGARs. And there's nobody else in Canada that's doing it. And you know why, Brent? You know why nobody else is doing it?
Yeah. Why?
Because they're not stupid. They're not stupid, Brent. That's why.
This is where the mic drops, everyone.
I'm getting, I told you, I was going to get pissed off. But the other premiers in our country, in Canada, the other premiers are not stupid. They're not stupid. They're not brain dead, Brent. Like David Eby, the temporary ban of these SGARs, again, it was in July of 2021. Now that just so happens to be just around the time that John Horgan was diagnosed for the last time with cancer, right?
Right.
So, and again, this was a temporary ban originally. So I'm gonna cut John Horgan some slack because it was a temporary ban. Right. They were just gonna try it out and see, and kind of let's see how it works.
An experiment, yeah.
An experiment. So I'm gonna cut John Horgan some slack because the last year of his life was probably a living hell. I mean, anybody that's gone through or seen a family member go through cancer treatment, and I have. There's been a couple family members that have gone through cancer treatment, and it is hell. Like even as a person witnessing it secondhand, it's hell to watch. So you know that John Horgan was going through hell that last year of his life, or actually he was around till 2024, but he stepped down. He stepped down in late 2022, right?
Yeah.
And then the cancer came back again. Anyway, I digress a little bit. So I'm just saying that I'm prepared to give John Horgan a little bit of slack here, right? Because at first it was just a temporary ban, and it wasn't until it was very early, it was early January, basically January 1st of 2023, that temporary ban became permanent.
Oh.
The temporary ban became permanent. So,
okay.
So, but it's basically, since the temporary ban, all of these pest control companies like all over BC, they're not able to use these SGARs. So they're using truckloads of poison, and these rats and mice are not dying, Brent. I'll say it like a 1,000 times. They're eating truckloads of poison and they're not dying.
Yeah, and they're getting in behind the walls, and they can cause a lot of damage to buildings too.
Well, here I made some more notes, Brent, and this is directly from the government of BC.ca, gov.bc, bc.ca website. This is direct from their own website. You know what it says? It says rats and mice can : damage property by chewing on materials like insulation, siding, and wallboard. That's bullet point number 1. They can start electrical fires by gnawing on wiring. That's bullet point number 2. They eat and contaminate stored food. And the number 4 is they transmit diseases. And that's the big one. They transmit diseases, Brent. And I mean, why in God's name would the BC government here, the only province in all of BC, decide that, we're just going to ban these poisons because they're way too effective? They're actually going to end up killing the rats, and we don't want that. We don't want the mice and rats to actually die.
Oh no,
we don't want them to actually die. We want them to thrive. And you know what, Brent? Like I said, it was a temporary ban up until the beginning of 2023. But when we changed our pest control company was sort of right at the beginning of 2022, because I was seeing rats or mice the size of a small cat walking across my patio outside. I'm not kidding, Brent. We're seeing rats and mice the size of raccoons and small cats. Bigger
than my coffee mug.
Like 3 times the size of that, Brent. 3 times the size of that.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Like we're talking raccoon sized rats.
Whoa.
And they're just and so. But it was back in about 2022. I was seeing basically rats that were sunbathing in the summer outside on my patio. And I can't get out on the patio anyway because it's kind of got a ledge where you have to kind of step down, so it's very inaccessible for me anyway. But I mean, even if I could go out there, I wouldn't now. I wouldn't be caught dead out there.
It'd be scary.
Because let's go back to the transmitting diseases part. One of the big diseases that rats and mice carry, it's something called, and I made another note here, Brent, a very severe illness. It's called Hantavirus Pulmonary Syndrome. Hantavirus Pulmonary Syndrome, or HPS. Hantavirus Pulmonary Syndrome, or HPS for short. And basically it's a respiratory illness. It's very similar to almost coronavirus, except you know what? Its effective kill rate. Guess what its effective kill rate is, Brent?
How much?
Around 35%. So if you come down with HPS, you have a guaranteed rate of death at about 35%.
Oh.
So
and that never could climb, actually.
Yeah, and I'll tell you how you get HPS is you get it from the saliva of rats and mice, and I don't know if can you see saliva, Brent? Is saliva readily noticeable, do you think?
Nope.
Like if I were to see saliva from a rat or a mouse on the kitchen counter, would I know that is rat or mice saliva?
Nope. No, you wouldn't.
You know, or if I saw some rat or mice saliva on my cereal box,
right?
Would I know? Would I know that there's rat saliva on my cereal?
Right. I mean, cross contamination. I mean, that is detrimental for anyone who is immune compromised too. Oh man, that's
so it's rat droppings. It's rat droppings, right? It's urine. It's rat droppings, urine, and saliva from rats or mice. That is what transmits this HPS. And I don't know if people remember the death of Gene Hackman, right, and his wife.
Right.
People were surprised, like what happened there? Like people, somebody just showed up and his wife and him were just dead, and their dogs were dead. I think there's one surviving dog and then two other ones dead or something, and the authorities showed up and they're like, what happened here? And they live in Mexico. They were retired and living in Mexico, we have to say, and I just want to be clear that actually, apparently Gene Hackman himself didn't die from rat poison or rat transmitted diseases. His wife did, though. Apparently, what happened was his wife died of it first, and I don't know if people are aware, but Gene Hackman suffered from really bad Alzheimer's. They suspect that his wife passed away, and Gene Hackman was not even aware that it happened. And then maybe he saw her at some point, and I don't know. He could have gone into shock and died at that point. They think it was his death was the cause of either a heart problem or a heart problem in conjunction with his Alzheimer's. But they're pretty sure that he was not poisoned by the rats, or I shouldn't say poisoned. He wasn't infected with this HPS.
Okay.
But his wife Betsy was. His wife Betsy, she got this HPS, and again, it's from rat saliva, Brent. Can you identify what rat saliva looks like?
No.
So it's from rat saliva. So she might have eaten a bowl of Cheerios. Let's say, hypothetically, eaten a bowl of Cheerios that had a bit of rat saliva on it. And what happens? You get the, like I said, you get the shortness of breath, very similar to coronavirus, except way worse. And what happened was she basically her body basically mummified because it attacks all of your internal organs, and your body basically mummifies, and you just die. Like very effectively. You just die very effectively because guess what, Brent? Rats and mice are loaded with poison. They're loaded with disease and poison. So if you have a rat or mice problem, you're going to die. You're going to die.
Transmit all the poisons right to the humans.
And guess what, Brent? Our BC government here does not care about 1.5 million people living in stratas, living in condos. They say, well, screw you. I don't care. David Eby's living very happily in his mansion somewhere. And you know what? Guess what? He's probably able to go to Costco in Bellingham across in United States and buy poison himself across the border in the States. He can buy his own poison and kill his own rats in his own house. But we can't do it here. Stratas can't do it here in condos.
Yeah.
Can can you imagine, Brent? Like, so this is a situation is you have professional pest control companies now that know what they're doing. They're licensed professionals. These are licensed. We're not talking about fly by night people that just want to buy a whole bunch of poison and just spread a bunch of poison everywhere and just kill everything in sight. We're talking about licensed professionals that know what they're doing.
Yeah, the specialists that know.
They specialize. They know what they're doing, and you're saying to these licensed professionals that know what they're doing, you're saying, you know what? We're no longer going to give you the hammer to kill rats and mice. You no longer have a hammer to hammer the nails in your toolbox. You don't get a hammer to hammer your nails anymore. We'll give you a screwdriver to hammer your nails. Or
we're going to take away the tools. We're going to take the tools away for you.
We're going to take all the tools away, and so instead of the hammer, you to hammer your nails in, we're going to give you a screwdriver, or better yet, use your bare fist. Use your bare fist to hammer in your nail, and maybe kill the rats and mice that way. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I'll say it like 1,000 times: the rats and mice are not dying. And it's scary as shit, Brent. I have to tell you, it's scary as shit. They're in the walls. It's like the beach of Normandy. They're coming into the building. When it was bad, like I said, it's not bad right now. Like when it was bad in 2022, there were sunbathing on the deck. There's owners that can see them sunbathing on the deck right now. We can witness them on the cameras down in our parkade. They come in and out of the parkade in the gates, like by a whole stream of them. We were witnessing them down there.
Oh my gosh.
So they're all around the building, and I have to say again, they're eating a ton. They're eating a ton of poison, Brent. They're eating a ton of poison, and every 2 weeks we get loaded up with more poison, and they're eating a ton of this shit, and they're not dying. They're not dying.
So what do you think, like from the area that there's a field right near your place, so there wasn't a problem before the government banned the pesticide that actually worked to keep them away. So now they take away the toxicity of keeping them away to replace it with non-toxicity. Are there other buildings in your area that are directly affected, like across from where you are?
I've got buildings all around me. I've got buildings all around me, and actually, I should say too, part of the problem is in the last few years, there's been a couple of new buildings been put in, and what happens when they put new buildings in? They clear out all the property. So there used to be bush. There used to be bush outside where my condo is. And they cleared all that bush. That was where all the rats were. Mm-hmm. So, of course, all the rats got displaced. And where did the rats go that are getting displaced? They go to the neighboring buildings.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that if you disrupt their habitat, they're going to go to the next available building that they get into.
So there was a huge field. There was basically a huge open field where some rats were. And they cleared all that out to put in a couple new condos, and as soon as they cleared out that area, of course the rats moved to the neighboring condos. And I know for a fact some neighboring condos around my area are not doing any pest control whatsoever. Some are doing nothing. Some are doing nothing, and some maybe are doing one servicing a month, maybe. But we're doing 2 servicings a month, and it's not doing anything.
So they got some of those neighboring condos around there. They got pets already embedded in their buildings, I'm sure. Yeah. They just haven't made their way inside the units. And where I am in Victoria, knock on wood, so far we don't have any in our building yet. There's been raccoons, a lot more raccoons lately, I've noticed. I went to go and throw garbage out the other day, and I saw something like a huge object. It was dark out and on top of a garbage bin, and I thought it was a cat at first. I thought, oh, what is it? All of a sudden, here's a big thud on top of the lid. Oh, and the other part of the garbage lid was actually wide open because we had people going through our garbage and recycle on a daily basis, 4 or 5 people a day, and they go through and get bottles and cans and anything that's recyclable out. And I heard a noise. I didn't really pay attention. I threw garbage. I was just about to throw it, and I saw this huge raccoon, a whole family of them. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And
there's been some here too.
Yeah, they're
raccoons
huge.
and squirrels. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're growing bigger and bigger. And the
Yeah.
first thing I came to my mind, Neil, was imagine if that was a rat, and describing that they're as big as a cat.
Well, I don't have to imagine because I see them.
Yeah, you've
here.
seen them. Yeah.
I've seen them.
And for me,
it's scary, Brent. It's scary. As a person, like I said, I've been on Strata Council for 5 years now. I feel helpless because, like I said, we're doing servicing twice a month. That should be plenty. Like even once a month, if you actually had the right tools to actually kill them, if you actually had the right poisons to kill them, we shouldn't have a problem. We shouldn't have a problem of rats because you know what? You put down poison that works and you kill them. End of story. But here in BC,
this raccoon that I saw was basically would have been the same size of a rat rats that you're seeing that are the size of a cat, and this raccoon would have been the same size. So imagine everyone listening on the podcast version, a raccoon. If you've never seen a rat, just think of a raccoon, and I'm sure you've seen raccoons. A whole family of them. Imagine those are rats. How big they can get.
Yeah.
And they're embedded in your walls.
It's
scary.
It's scary.
It's very scary.
You know, getting back to the fact that BC is the only province in all of Canada that has banned these SGARs because they're stupid. Because David Eby is stupid. I don't like being disrespectful, but I'm gonna say it. David Eby is stupid, and everybody in government that is allowing this SGAR ban is stupid. Let's talk about the states for a moment, Brent. Guess how many states in the United States have banned SGARs? Guess how many states have banned SGARs?
That is a very good question. I'm guessing again 0.
There's one. Maybe you can guess the one that has banned them. There's only one state in all of the United States that has banned them.
Washington, D.C.?
No, that's a good guess, but it's California.
Oh.
Everybody else has banned them, and you know why they've banned them, Brent? You know why they've banned them? Because they're not stupid. They haven't banned them because they're not stupid. But apparently, here in BC, we're stupid. We're allowing wild rats to thrive and exist and have a great life and eat tons of poison and not die. And so again, I feel like I'm belaboring the point, but we have basically the Beach of Normandy situation where you have all these rats now that are encroaching in on our building. We've actually had to pour concrete, fill a whole bunch of holes around the foundation of the building, at the recommendation of our pest control guy. He said to start pouring concrete and fill all these holes in, and we've done all that. But they're making burrows and they're finding ways to get inside.
Well, yeah, if they want to find their way in, they will find their way in. It's the government in BC seems to want to thrive on allowing these rats to thrive and live well and be well and cause chaos inside buildings and cause damage to the infrastructure buildings. And yes, it will, everyone. It will cause infrastructure damage.
The only thing I can think of is the government wants people to die. They're waiting for.
It almost seems that way.
Yeah. I mean, it's so stupid, Brent. It's so stupid. It's like the government is just waiting for a huge pandemic of all these rats that they're just gonna, like a Beach of Normandy situation where the rats are just gonna take over like a shitload of condo buildings, and all the residents inside the condo buildings are gonna die, and they're gonna go think, well, what happened? And it's gonna be because some saliva got on a bowl of cornflakes. Some rat saliva got on some boiled cornflakes, and people died from that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry. Like I'm getting mad. I'm getting pissed off because our government is stupid. Our government is stupid. And you know, I'm a parent. You know, I have a son, and when you become a parent, like it's kind of, it becomes part of your DNA, where you can't help but say, well, I wonder what it would be like to parent that child, or I wonder what it would be like to parent that child, or you even say, I wonder what it would be like to parent that adult. And one of the people I think about all the time is like, I wonder what it would be like to parent David Eby. I honestly think that. I wonder what it would be like to parent David Eby. And one of the suggestions I would have for David Eby would be, please stop being stupid. Because if you're being stupid, like, I know he's a smart man. He's a lawyer, for crying out loud. And you don't become a lawyer by being stupid. You have to be smart. So I know he's smart. But if you're smart, act smart. Don't act stupid. And kill 1.5 million citizens in the province from rat saliva. Don't do it. And you know what? Like we've only got another, I don't know, 10 minutes or something in the podcast. But let's transition from rats for a moment to another responsibility of David Eby's, is our homeless encampments too. All of that falls on the shoulders of strata corporations too. Like, I'm on Strata Council. We've had tons of homeless encampment issues where we've had homeless people that are breaking into the underground. They start fires. They've been starting fires in the underground, and luckily we haven't had that for a while now. We haven't had that for a while now, but there was we had to call the fire department. Surrey Fire Department had to come 3 times because of fires fires were set in our downtown our downstairs parkade. And because they were doing drugs down there.
Oh jeez.
And they were stoned out of their minds doing drugs and setting fires in there.
Oh.
And you know what, like, trust me, Bryant, I feel sorry for most of the people that are homeless. I do. Like, are people that are addicted to, like, I don't pretend to know the stories of that.
Yeah, I mean, because I mean, every individual has its own, they have their own story of how they became homeless and how they became drug addicted, painkillers, you name it, whatever it is. And I tell the whole stories, but it's sad when the officials know who are the, who the individuals are that need to get that help, whatever help that may need, but not keeping them housed and getting them proper permanent, not shelters, but permanent housing. That's where I have a problem with governments from all levels. It's that, like, they keep pointing fingers at each other, knowing what the underlying problem is, and nobody wants to basically step up to the plate and work together. They keep pointing fingers. It's like the Downtown Eastside. I mean, we'll dive into that since we got a little bit of time here. I think where I'm probably
but just before you go there, Brent, I just wanted to finish my thought on the breaking in down to the underground there. Is you had them shooting up and doing drugs down there, so they're discarding all these needles, and they're defecating down there. There's human feces down there. They were like I said, we fixed the problem now. But guess how we had to fix it, Brent? We had to install a bunch of lighting down there. So we spent about $500 worth of lights, like high-powered lights. We started with that. That didn't deter them. Like, they were very high-powered lights. We thought high-powered lights are going to deter them. They're going to not want to stay down there. That didn't work. They still went down there. So then we spent, I think it was $2,500, a big huge iron gate, like an extra iron gate to keep them
heavy duty.
Keep them out of the visitor, because the visitor parking downstairs is all kind of open, of course, for visitors. Of course, makes sense. But we had to cordon all that off. There's a part of it that we had to cordon off with an iron gate, like a heavy duty, like $2,500 gate. So that's extra expense again for owners, right? And anyway, so you had all this trash and garbage and shit, human shit and needles, and
terrible.
Like a mountain. We're talking a mountain of shit and garbage and needles, a mountain worth from these homeless people, and so we thought, well, we'll phone a garbage disposal company to come and dispose of them. We phoned 2 places, and they came to look at the needles and the shit and their garbage, and they said, we're not touching that. We are not touching that because you know what? They said that is dangerous for us.
Well, yeah, of course.
That's too dangerous for us. We're not going to dispose of that because there's needles. There's needles and human feces and garbage. We're not touching that. So guess who had to dispose of it, Brent?
Who?
There was 2 owners in our condo that volunteered by force almost. They volunteered by force. There's a woman that a great woman. She's the current president on our Strata Council. She's an RN, so she's a registered nurse, and so she volunteered to go on her hands and knees with gloves and dispose of a shitload of I don't know how many needles.
I can just imagine.
And dispose of literal human shit and garbage. And then you know, we were able to I mean, at the end of the day, it's cost us like, I don't know, maybe like $4 grand or maybe $4 or $5 grand, like just to fortify, like an extra $5 grand to fortify our downstairs parkade. So an extra $5 grand just so that homeless people can't infiltrate downstairs. And the other thing is too, is again, I do feel sorry for most of the people that are homeless, but what was pissing me off was we actually had people go down there and talk to we confronted the people that were breaking in, and we said, you know, you kind of say, well, please don't do this because you're causing fires and you're going to burn down our condo. Please don't burn down our condo and threaten the lives of 39 innocent souls in our building, or actually more than that. Because we're talking husbands and wives and children here too.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So like 100 or more souls in this building. So we're like, please don't threaten the safety and well-being and livelihood of all these people that live here. And they laughed at us, Brent. They laughed at us. They said, we don't care. We're gonna come again, and we're gonna light more fires and shit more and leave more garbage. They were laughing because they're all strung out and they're like happy strung out on drugs, and they're like, yes, we're gonna like destroy your property. We're gonna break into all the cars and steal all the stuff and destroy your property because it's fun. It's fun for us. We love it. And again, so I've transitioned from rats to homeless, but all of this stuff, it's extra expense. It's extra expense for strata corporations.
Yeah, an owner of the building.
We're spending thousands of dollars extra every year, every month, because we're trying to fix David Eby's fuck ups. Let's just say it. David Eby's fuck ups with his awesome drug policy. His fucked up drug policy of like, who cares? Let's get all the strata companies or owners to deal with my fuck up. I don't have to deal with it. It's not my problem. I created the problem, but I'm not going to be on my hands and knees with gloves on and disposing of needles. That's the job of Neil's tenant. That's an RN. She's an RN. She can do it. I don't have to go into his building and dispose of the needles. I don't have to go into the building and dispose of human shit. That's not my issue. I created the issue. David Eby, created the issue, but I'm not gonna deal with it. Fuck it. I don't care about the citizens of BC. Fuck it. They can all die of rat infested diseases. Fuck everybody in BC. They can all die of rat diseases. We can all die and be covered in rat dung.
Wow.
Right? I'm sorry I'm losing it, but I'm pissed off. Yeah. I'm pissed off.
Well, yeah, because it doesn't have to be that way. It's like a government has, I don't know, blank minds of things that are logic, to do things the logic ways, and they're doing it completely backwards. And when it comes to policies of implementation, things that make sense, it's like, oh, let's do things backwards because, hey, in their minds, it's like a pink unicorn that's behind me. Let's do things backwards. That's because it's all make believe in their minds. They think it's okay. In reality, it affects people's lives, their well-beings. I mean, people who are owners in condominiums. I mean, how many condo owners in stratas are actually reporting this? Probably not that many at all.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm one condo, and probably there's probably 20,000 condos in the province.
Oh, at least, and they probably filed reports to the government, and then of course FOIs. Oh, you have to pay to play. I mean, again, that's another stupid thing that I don't know why the government even put those FOIs in, because I mean, reporters who want to do stories on stuff, they have to spend a lot of money to do one simple report. And then they have to get that report and hope that it's not redacted out, a whole bunch of redacted information. So let's transition. First of all, I want to say I'm so sorry, Neil.
And I'm sorry for losing it, Brent. But it's been 2 years. I've wanted to talk about this for 2 years. It's been over 2 years now. Like having these rats that are like almost getting into the building, and you're thinking, holy shit, everybody in this building is going to die. We're all going to die because we're going to get rat saliva in our Cheerios, and we're all going to die. And David Eby's going to go, oh well, gee, that's too bad. That's another cat. That's too bad, but at least I can go into my Costco in Bellingham and get poison and protect my home and protect my family. It's too bad that we don't give the proper tools and poisons to licensed professional pest control companies here.
Yeah, I don't understand why the government would, in the only province in Canada, but why BC would be the only province that would get rid of a poison that is going to help get rid of the problem, rather than, oh, but let's create more of a problem. Like, it's a complete backward thinking. Let's not have poison that actually works. And let's remind people too. So there's BC's the only province in all of Canada. Yeah, and there's 49 other states in the United States that have said, if you ban SGARs, that's probably a really stupid thing. 49 other states in the United States have agreed that a ban on SGARs is probably really, really stupid. And so they've agreed that it's stupid, but for some reason, David Eby, who's supposed to be a very smart man, because he's a lawyer, he's supposed to be a very smart man. But you're going to threaten the livelihood and safety of 1.5 million people that live in condo buildings or live in townhouses. You're going to just say, fuck it. I don't care if people die with rat saliva in their cornflakes or Cheerios in the morning. I don't care. It's not my problem. I don't care. Oh, I care because I live here. And it's your home.
And I've had to spend the $5,000 to repel the homeless issues here too. Like I said, the threats of burning down our building from fires being set by homeless people down our garage. We've had to spend the $5,000, and David Eby can say, "Oh well, who cares? Not my issue. Who cares? I didn't cause it. Yes, you did. Yes, you did, David Eby. You caused it."
Mm-hmm. And the government then wonders why why people have condominiums that are sitting empty right now. I bet there's probably more to the story why they're sitting empty right now. They're probably infested with rats.
Who knows?
And they say, I can't live there. I can't live there. And so they walk away.
Like I said, there's might be about 20,000 condos or
at least
or
more
or townhouses, and I can guarantee you, but I can guarantee you, every single one of the other condos other than mine are having the exact same issues. Maybe worse than mine. And my situation is freaking scary. Like I'm scared shitless. I'm scared shitless that we are like maybe 3 to 6 months away from a whole bunch of rats breaching into the building and killing every single one of us. I'm not even joking, Brent. I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. I wish I was joking, but I'm not joking. It's scaring the shit out of me that rats are gonna get into the building and start killing, start killing people here. You know, the other thing I'll say before we go over, I will say that the BC government here has allowed hospitals. If you're a hospital, you're allowed to use poisons. You're allowed to use the SGAR poisons in hospitals. So isn't it nice to know that if you become sick, or if you're on the verge of death in a hospital, that you can be safe. You can be safe from contracting a disease from a rat or a mouse. So if you're in a hospital, you can be safe in that environment. And apparently also too, like if you work in agriculture, and of course if you work like the grocery stores here are allowed to use SGARs to protect the produce, to protect the produce in the grocery stores. They're allowed to use that. But God forbid that anybody wants to live in a condo. Yeah. God forbid that anybody wants to live in a condo and feel safe in their condo.
Yeah, let the rats run amok. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just mind blowing to me. It's like the government wants us all to die. It's like the government wants us all to die. It's like, seriously, it's pissing me off, Brent, because I care. I don't get paid. Like none of us on Strata Council get paid for anything. We're doing it because we love the building. I care about, like, of course I spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on my like tens of thousands, dollars on my condo. So of course I care about it. I want to protect it, and I want to protect the investment of all of the owners that live here, because I give a shit. I want to do my very best to protect everybody that lives here, including myself, including my own family. I want to protect everybody. And it's like the government saying, who gives a shit?
Yeah, it sure seems that way. I mean, you want to protect your own quarters of where you live, and you want to protect the building in representing everyone else in the building because you care about your building. But the government does not care, doesn't seem to want to care about protecting its citizens, its own residents in their own province. All they care about is their stupid Bill 15, so they can ram through. Yeah. If anyone contradicts the government.
Let's talk about that now, Brent. We got a little bit of time. Yeah,
we're going to dive into Bill 15, everyone, and we'll just refresh everyone so they know what Bill 15 is in BC, and then we're going to transition over to the Downtown Eastside in Vancouver regarding this is kind of a little headline for people to understand where we're going to go, the transition. So we're going to talk about Bill 15 a little bit, and then we're going to transition over to the Downtown Eastside in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, where the Ministry of Social Development and Poverty Reduction had hired somebody to tell them, well, there's a problem. But we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. So let's talk about Bill 15 first, Neil. Bill 15?
Let's back up and say that Bill 15 started out as Bill 7.
Yep.
And then it became Bill 13, 14, and 15, I think it is, right?
Yep.
I think, or is it 14, 15, 16, or something like that?
There was a whole bunch of them.
So it started out as Bill 7. Yeah. And then everybody
it blossomed.
Everybody in the legislature said, David Eby, you can't do that You can't do that because it's a power grab. So what did David Eby do? He broke up the bill 7 and he broke it up into smaller bills. Into 14, 15, and 16, or 13, 14, 15. I don't know what the numbers are, but he broke them up into 3 smaller bills in the efforts to, because he wants to pass it so bad, because he's power hungry so bad that even
the business council and a lot of the top CEOs of big corporations were all telling him, no, don't do this, David. Do not do this.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, the oppositions of the BC Conservatives and the Green Party also said, don't do this. But guess what? Here we are at this point where, 15, they want to ram it through. They want to ram it. They want to ram that thing through.
Yeah. And let's put a exclamation point on this too. David Eby is the only premier in all of Canada that is pulling shit like this. He's the only premier in all of Canada that's pulling shit like this. He's the only one that wants this swelled head, like power grab, I'm the king of the world shit. He is the only one doing it. Let's emphasize that. So
I remember.
What does that say? What does that say, Brent? What does that say if you're the only premier in all of Canada that's pulling off shit like that? What does that say about you as a premier?
Well, I'm hearing discussions from back in Ontario, and they're asking like, what the hell is going on in BC? One of my neighbors had their family member over, and they're actually from Saskatchewan, Regina, Saskatchewan, visiting, and said, what the hell is going on in BC? I'm hearing all these Downtown Eastside like issues going on there. And the lady said, I grew up in Burnaby, and I know about Downtown Eastside, and I'm scared about going down there. I'm scared about going into any downtown area now because I'm scared about being jumped and chased down hallways or in buildings of, because she used to be an RN and she left. She left to BC to go to Regina, Saskatchewan, because she was scared for her life. Imagine that, scared for her life. And she retired. She retired out of BC, and she likes coming back here because it's just something that she grew up here, and it reminded her of her surroundings. But she said she can't live in BC. She can't afford to live in BC. She doesn't like the government's policies. She said, "What happened to the BC NDP? What happened?" Good question. It's not the BC NDP that I remember.
I just talked about about the fact that all this expense is being passed on to strata councils, like the one that I'm on, are the owners of the condo here. It's all these expenses about the homeless situations, and the rat problems are all being passed on to us, the owners. Yeah. And we have to say too that the same thing is happening to companies like big ticket companies like London Drugs, and you have coffee shops, and you have like a lot of really big anchor stores, big economic chains that are closing up shop because it's too expensive to do business here anymore because the stores are having to invest a shitload on security cameras, a shitload on security guards, a shitload on whatever else, and again, this is all problems that have been created by David Eby that thought it'd be great, be wonderful to legalize drug possession.
What could go wrong?
What can go wrong? Yeah, it's just.
They were told by the BC government was told by Portland, Oregon, in the United States on the West Coast, and they were told that it wasn't the program that they had put in wasn't working. It was not working, and they said, do not go down this pathway. Change course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember years ago going down to Portland, Oregon, and I saw firsthand. Sonia saw. We were walking along, waiting for a train to catch in downtown, and there was people camped out in tents right near the train station. They were keeping to themselves. We walked right by them, and we were told by some security people at the train station, and yeah, probably not a good idea going down that way. We walked down that way. I said, I'm going to walk down that way. But they were watching us from a distance, making sure that we were fine. I could tell like they were watching, and we were fine. But looking at people living in these tents, Neil, it was so sad. Like, like bicycles parked there, and you could see they had thermoses and they'll carry little not freezers. They're thermal kind of carry case there, hot and cold, like keeping all their stuff there. And I mean, they just wanted. All I heard was, "We just want a safe place we can call home." Mm-hmm. That's what I said. How are you doing? Like, I actually said, "How are you doing?" Probably people thought, "Oh my gosh, Brent, that's scary. Like, why would you want to talk to them?" I just said, "How are you doing?" Mm-hmm. Fine. We'll get by, but we just want a safe place we can call home. Mm-hmm. And again, I don't know what their situation is, how they became homeless. Yeah. Some people will lose their homes of no fault of their own. There's so many circumstances, but having the support services in place for people that are homeless, give them permanent housing. Yes, I understand that there are individuals that may need that extra care, whatever it may be. I'm not an expert when it comes to homelessness. We were homeless for a period of time, not a long time. And not having a fixed address in my life, I never thought in my life that I would ever not have an address, doesn't that have their keys,
That reminds me of a song, Brent. Sorry. We're here for a good time. Not a long time. So have a good time. The sun don't shine every day. Yeah, we're here for a good time. Anyway.
Yeah, that's Trooper. Yeah.
Trooper, yeah.
one of my favorite songs, and every time I think of that song, I think things can be worse in a person's situation. Yeah. But until they actually get into that worse situation, they look back and they say, "What happened? What happened? What did I do wrong?" I mean, we moved into a place that was infested with bed bugs, and we lost everything. I mean,
bed bugs are nasty too. I've never had them. But I've heard lots of horror stories. I had a friend that had big problems with bed bugs.
Yeah, I mean, and we could only take what we could take to get to put it into high industrial washer machines and dryers, and to flush it out. I mean, once these things get embedded into any of your belongings, if you take them where you are, some people might think, there's a bug. No, they can cause damage. They cause damage.
Well, and just like rats and mice. I mean, I mean, David Eby can sit there and go, I don't live there. Who cares? Like think of how long like the SROs in Downtown Eastside, like how many years have there probably been rats and mice living in there? Mm-hmm. And all the politicians are probably thinking, well, who cares? Like I don't have to live there. I don't have to live there. So
that's my life. I mean,
it's not my problem.
Yeah, I get shelter. I get shelter. And paid for by taxpayers. I mean, I get $2,500 a month in shelter. I mean, and great. I mean, rightfully so. I mean, if they're in legislation, I get it. Like the reason why they need to have accommodation. However, they need to be treating their citizens with the same respect and dignity, and giving people the proper financial means so that they can have permanent shelter. And getting back to what I was saying is people that are homeless is I get them the help that they need as an individual basis, treat them with dignity and respect, get them the proper care. I mean, open up care facilities. I don't know. I mean, some people say, well, throw them into that facility that was there way back in the 80s.
Yeah,
I think
80s,
Riverview in BC.
Riverview,
I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm tossed on that. Is I think just get them the medical care that they need and work with them, and put them through some kind of like the treatment that they need. There's prolific offenders. Now that's where I have a problem with the justice system. That's federal, and they need to work with provincial and fix that one bill that's actually in the federal, and they should have done that. The federal government should have done that right the first time when the last administration was in. They chose not to fix that properly. They just tweaked around the corner and did this and that. They should have fixed the problem up, because now you get individuals running amok. It's like a revolving door. Back out they go, and they cause chaos. And I mean, no fault of their own in some cases. Like, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know where they're going. But get them the help that they need, because, I mean, everyone, I mean, they're all human. They have,
yeah.
You know.
And you shared with me, I think we both shared similar videos. Like, I think I showed you one, and then you showed me one. There was a couple of videos with Sam Sullivan, and he's an ex MLA here in BC. Sam Sullivan is a guy in a wheelchair.
Great guy.
Like, I used to work for him. I used to work for his foundation. Really great guy. I've met with him. I've talked with him. He's the one that kind of helped reverse some of my PWD clawback situation. But really great guy. Anyway, he's done a couple videos all about how the Downtown Eastside was created. So maybe you want to transition to talking about the Downtown Eastside. But because basically Sam Sullivan is basically saying that the Downtown Eastside is basically a creation of government. The provincial government is the one that created it, created the Downtown Eastside. It never used to exist, and so provincial government designed it, created it that way.
Sam Sullivan was the MLA for the BC Liberal Party back when it was a BC Liberal Party. Then it became the BC United Party, and now the party folded the tent. Still have the leader in place for the BC United Party for now. Who knows where Kevin Falcon is? However,
he's AWOL.
Yeah, he's AWOL right now. But I think they're going to come out of the closet in the near future. I think things are going to change going forward on that one. It'll be interesting. Then there's a new party out there. But getting to the Downtown Eastside in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, Sam Sullivan. Neil will attach a little video clip of that to today's segment.
I can actually. I'll link the video. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can watch this that segment. Says Sam describes why that was created in the Downtown East Side of a community. As a community, the way that the government thought way back when, go back in the time machine, was that giving people a sense of the community spirit, of their well-being, of their surroundings, of making people come together in a small little area, and that they could take care of each other. And it was a pilot project that was put in place. And rather than getting them the help that they needed, they just plunked them down there. Yeah. And guess what? It blossomed from that point on.
So basically the government's idea was, like, everybody that has problems with homelessness, any problems with drugs or alcohol, we'll let you all congregate together so you can all share the same problems. And somehow you're all going to help each other out while you're suffering with all these problems of alcoholism or drugs or escaping violence or abuse or whatever the case is. Yeah. You're all going to basically help each other, as flawed human beings with really difficult lives. Somehow you'll all figure it out together. That's not how it works. Because Sam Sullivan, and again, we'll attach the video after this podcast is done. But Sam Sullivan said the old way of doing things, and this is the proper way of doing things. The old way of doing things is there used to be rooming houses back in the 70s and 80s where they would have one kind of bad apple, let's say, or say like a problem, like somebody that was an alcoholic or somebody that was addicted to drugs. They would kind of spread them around to so you'd have, say, like Johnny, who's addicted to drugs or on alcohol. You have him in one of the rooming houses, and everybody else is fine. They don't have any drug problems or anything. Yeah. So it's the other let's say another like 50 people that live there. They are the support network. So there's 50 people that are clean, that don't have any issues with drugs or alcohol. They're clean, and they help Johnny, the one that's got the drug problem. They help keep Johnny clean, and they had what did they call them, like kind of madams of the rooming houses, kind of like real kind of taskmasters that would like basically you'd be in shit if there was anybody that was not kind of towing the line, and if there was one bad apple that was kind of upsetting everybody else, like you would hear about it. So everybody kept everybody in. That was the old way of doing things. Is everybody kept everybody in line. So you'd have one or two people in a rooming house, and everybody else, all the people that didn't have any problems, but they would help the ones that did have a problem out. And so the people that had problems initially, eventually they didn't have any problems anymore because, you know, the people kind of rallied around them and said, "Hey, stop that, Johnny. You know, doing drugs is bad. You shouldn't do that anymore." And then Johnny says, "Well, you know what? Maybe that's true. Maybe I should live more like you." So that was the old model of doing it, and it sounds better to me, rather than just throwing everybody that has the problem and saying that, you know, we're going to throw like 1,000 people in the downtown Eastside and they all have the same problem and somehow they're going to miraculously fix themselves. You know, that's stupid logic. How do you expect, you know, 1,000 people or whatever it is to all congregate together and solve their own problems when they don't have like a support system around them?
Well, exactly. I mean, there needs to be a support system around to attach to each individual person, and basically work with the individual person and find out what their needs are, what supports and help that they need to help them, you know, get through their addiction and recovery, and give them permanent housing, not none of this shelter garbage, because shelter, I find, is like a Band-Aid. It's a quick, easy fix. I mean, and then but don't worry, we're going to get you know, more supportive housing for them. A long waiting list. I say get people housed, get them the help that they need, because, you know, hiring a consultant to go downtown Eastside.
Yeah, let's finish up with that.
We're going to kind of blend right into this one because it kind of coincides with what we're talking about right now, everyone.
Yeah. So
the Ministry of Social Development and Poverty Reduction, back in February of this year, apparently, quietly, they hired somebody. They hired a consultant, and I'll get a moment to.
Well, I'm going to stop you there, Brent, because you know what, like when we were talking about this off air, like a couple of days ago, you said like, you know, kind of how dare Sheila do this kind of thing, and I was thinking to myself, like Sheila Malcolmson I'm talking about, but then I'm thinking, well, you know what, it wasn't Sheila Malcolmson, it wasn't her fault.
No, it wasn't her fault.
It wasn't her fault at all, because you know what, David Eby hired this guy all on his own in private without telling Sheila Malcolmson at all.
Yeah, that's right, everybody. Is that even the news hour didn't even know, the public didn't even know. I was shocked when I found this out too. And nothing against the BC Conservative Party, they didn't even know. The Green Party didn't even know. Like, nobody knew.
Well, can you imagine? Can you imagine your own BC minister Sheila Malcolmson not knowing?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh, sorry, Sheila. Whoops.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
And then what came out of it was it was a communication breakdown between her office and the Premier's office. Premier's office didn't communicate with the minister, saying, by the way, you're going to be basically paying $150,000 for 6 months, a base amount for 6 months, plus $25,000 in perks. Yeah, that's right, $25,000 in perks. But there's going to be no accountability.
Yeah. All
we expect you to do is bring in some reports, maybe go to some meetings. But there was nothing written in stone saying that it had to be that way.
And how hard would it have been for David Eby to pick up a phone and say, oh, by the way, Sheila, I'm thinking about hiring this guy. And what's his name? Michael Bryant. We should say his name. Michael Bryant. He's got the name. He's going to be the new Downtown Eastside czar. That was his title, official title.
The expertise that knows everything about how to fix homelessness in the Downtown Eastside, to kind of go along and say, here's the problem. I've observed the problem. These are my recommendations on how to fix the problem. Well, hello. This problem's been happening since 1970s, but he's going to magically fix it all within 6 months. And maybe they say they could have even went to a year.
Yeah, and we should say that Michael Bryant is a good personal friend of David Eby. You know, that's a little bit of a issue there, right? So they're best buddies. So David Eby's basically hiring his best buddy. So it was going to be like, for a 1-year contract, it was going to be like $300,000 plus $25,000 in extras.
Oh, well, that would have been for the 6 months, so it would have been probably $350 by the time all said and done.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
Imagine that, everyone, $350,000.
$350 for
the government said they're
12.
broke. Though.
Yeah, they're broke. They're broke, but they can
PWD rates because we got money, but they were going to go ahead and actually use all of that money, $350,000. Wow. I mean, that could have went to PWD rates. So I guess instead of them putting that money, now they've actually fired Michael Bryant. They fired him because the publicity got too distracted for the government.
And you know what? David Eby basically fired him, but he basically gaslights the conservative opposition at the same time, saying, well, you know, I wouldn't have had to fire him if you bad conservatives hadn't have blown the whistle on my secretive backroom deal. Like, how dare you blow the whistle on my secretive backroom deal to hire this guy that I didn't tell anybody about? I didn't even tell Sheila Malcolmson, my minister. I didn't even tell my minister. But how dare you blow the whistle on this, that it makes me look bad? You know.
Well, I mean, I was shocked because I hadn't even heard about this either. Like, I say, what? Did they hire this guy back in February, and the public didn't even know? I mean, no accountability. I mean, I was miffed because the government's saying, "Oh, well, we have no money," and they go ahead and want to waste, $300,000 and maybe up to $350,000 to tell the government something that they already know. Meanwhile, they have city councils in Vancouver who are actually going down there. They know what's going on, and they're getting paid a lot of money already. They have all their team down there. The cops know what's going on all the time. Can they not report to the government and tell them the same thing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when I heard about this going on, I thought, whoa, like, this does not even make sense.
Yeah.
And again, that's another bad idea that went sour, and it basically fell right in the premier's, right in his lap, saying, "Oops, did I do wrong here?" Yeah.
I mean, we've had podcasts before where we talked about the bad idea hat and the oops, I did it again podcast. Those are two podcasts: the bad idea hat and the oops, I did it again. I mean, like, again, I don't like. I mean, people say, well, Neil, you're enjoying painting targets on Eby, and honestly, I don't. I honestly don't. I'm being serious. I don't like painting targets on David Eby. But if you're gonna be stupid, and again, like, I know he's a smart man. I know it. Like, you don't become a lawyer by being stupid. You have to be intelligent to become a lawyer. So you know he's an intelligent man. You know he is. I know he is. But the problem is if you make stupid decisions and you act stupid and you do stupid things, people are going to start thinking you're stupid, even if you're intelligent.
Well, the way I things too, Neil, is when it really directly affects people's lives in a very bad way with what you're going through, and so many other people that I'm sure that it's going through too, and they don't know who to talk to, they don't know who to reach out to. I'm sure they probably write government emails or phone calls and never get a response back. I think that the time's going to come where, when it comes to next voting time, I think maybe things are going to maybe be different. I mean, this government got in with a very slim minority, majority government, but a very slim one, right? And ran with an idea of, well, we're going to, we hear you, people are hurting, the people are suffering, they need help now. We're going to get them $1,000 per household because, people, they're living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, that slogan of, oh, they're $200 away from not being able to pay bills. Well, no, hello. They're already that terminology. I need government to change that language because I've talked to many people in the community and they say, I don't even have $200 left from paycheck. Like I'm already in the red and I'm basically barely treading water. How one of my neighbors in my building had said to me, okay, so Brent, you're scuba diving, yeah? Okay, I said, well, I don't scuba dive. He goes, right, but you're scuba diving, but it looks like you need a little bit more oxygen in your air tanks here. Okay, so we're gonna go down and we're gonna hook up another one, but we're gonna take that one off you. You're gonna lose a little bit of air for a minute. We're gonna hook another one up because it's gonna be better. But meanwhile, you're like gasping for air. But don't worry here, we're gonna lift you further up. Oh, that tank's not working. We need to pull you up a little bit above the water. So now you're treading water. Yeah. But like that's the best we can do. I mean, and there's a lot of people right now, stats are showing a lot of people are going to food banks. More and more people go to food banks. They're putting strain on our food bank services. Kids are going to bed hungry. PWD in the province are going hungry. Across Canada, I mean, our show is for Canadians with disabilities and their allies. And today's episode, we were focusing on BC. And how many stories, David Eby and Minister Malcolmson, and I'm hearing all these stories. People are scared. They don't know who to talk to. They're pleading for help. Stories where people are going days. There's one individual, and I'm not going to say the person's name due to just privacy. But one person has gone 6 days with no food. No food. I mean, are you kidding me? In BC,
That's crazy.
And the person is scared about going to the food bank. You know why? Because they don't want to take food away from families for children. They'd rather suffer themselves and go without. And they say that the BC government Ministry of Social Development Poverty Reduction doesn't like disabled people. And that's what the person I read, and I went, oh my God. And it said they refuse to raise the support rates after 4 years. They show the shelter rates after 2 years. They got rent increases. They have to cut back. I can relate to having to figure out where to cut back. I'm scared. I'm scared because I have my service providers people. And I just recently dealt with a fiasco with another service provider. I had to completely shut the account down. There was an outstanding amount owing. I paid it out. I was lucky to get another service provider. However, the rates are high. And I look at it as, okay, there's no rent increase to go with our supports because that's been frozen for 4 years.
They didn't increase their amounts.
Meanwhile, food inflation is a skyrocket. We had a visitor here for a few days, which is wonderful. It gave us a little reprieve from actually having to make some meals, this and that. So it was like, yay, thank you. However, basically it was brought to our attention that the government needs to wake up and to actually do better and actually smarten up and actually raise the rates to a dignified amount. It's not difficult, David, and it's not. It's not difficult.
And the BC government here, they do have Sheila Malcolmson herself has said, that everybody on PWD assistance can freely go every month and apply for the additional crisis supplement. Every month you can go and ask for the additional $50 crisis supplement. But I mean that is begging. Like that is a policy where you're basically saying, you know what, you're on PWD assistance. You have to beg now. You have to beg. You have to beg the ministry office for $50 every month. You have to beg for it because
explain why do you need it? Why do you need it?
Yeah.
And then half the time you're told by the ministry offices, why do you need it? Well, you need to budget better, do better, prove. Why do you need it?
Yeah.
I mean, why not just add it to their check? Why not just add it to their check and then raise the rates up to no less than poverty level financial support and tie it to COLA, cost of living adjustment?
Yeah.
If Doug Ford in Ontario, and I don't like doing jurisdictional things because it's like pegging disabled against disabled, but this is nonpartisan for everybody listening and watching today. But if one premier can do it, and it's a conservative government in Ontario, can tie rates to inflation. Yes, sadly, Doug Ford in Ontario chose not to raise PWD rates this year in their Ontario budget. Doug, really?
Yeah.
Cost of living is skyrocketing, and you didn't do it because you're waiting on the CDB, Canada Disability Benefit.
Yeah.
In BC, they didn't raise our support in 4 years. So 2021 was the last time they raised our support. Our shelter portion was frozen at $375 for 16 years. I mean, wow. And the government came along in 2023 and said, here's $125 more.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they took it out of the COVID supplement is what they did, right? But look what we did. Yeah. Again, government needs to do better. I guess that's kind of a good segue to kind of bounce off to well, actually, it'll be 222 in just one moment. Actually, that, and I just got a kind of a inkling of that is coming close.
Well, I know what you're going to say. You're going to talk about on Monday. We're going to have Jeff Leggett talk about the PWD poverty or the disability poverty rally happening in Victoria on what is it on the 20? Is it the 29th?
On the 29th.
29th, yeah.
And it is 222.
There you go.
There we go, everyone. And that's a good segue for me to kind of leave it at that is nobody should be living in legislated, imposed, government-imposed poverty. We are supposed to be living in the most prosperous province in Canada. Governments from every stripe, it doesn't matter who is in power, they keep banging that drum of saying, oh, BC is leading the Canada, economically. Now they say, oh, due to financial restraints, we can't raise rates this year. I've heard that line many times over a long period of time. Blame it on somebody else why they can't raise the rates, but you can go ahead and give every single MLA of yours $60,000, say, as a retainer, all your ministry staff, $18,000 minimum. I mean, that's higher than fire in each ministry's office. That costs a lot of money too, eh?
Yeah.
I mean, musical Titanic chairs. I mean, wow.
But we're having Jeff on Monday, so we can leave that. We can leave that till Monday. And I just wanted to end. I think I sort of have to apologize a little bit because I did kind of lose my cool today. But to be honest, like the reason I'm yelling and the reason I lost my cool is because I'm scared. Like I'm legit scared, Brent. I am scared shitless for my personal safety.
And your family.
And my family and for everybody,
and everybody else in your building.
Everybody else that lives in the buildings. Like I said, there's about 100 souls. There's probably about 100 souls that live in this building. I'm scared shitless for everybody that lives here.
Yeah. You have every right to feel scared, Neil. And I mean, no need to explain apologizing for that because, I mean, not telling you what to say, but I mean, there's no need to apologize for screaming out in frustration because it's government stupidity, like you said.
It just feels like the government doesn't care. Like
that's the way it's like as PWD, as we're PWD and hundreds of thousands of other PWD in BC too. We feel like we've been silenced out. And like government has to wake up and actually realize as one thing my mom always taught me, and this is where I'm going to kind of leave it at that. Yeah. My mom always taught me one thing, and it always stuck in my mind. Brent, when you screw up, right, admit that you're wrong, apologize, and say, I will do better. I will do better next time.
Yeah.
But if there is a deliberate screw up, she said, if there was a deliberate screw up, why did you do that? Why did you do that? Don't do that again. And those are two things that always stuck in my mind. My mom was a very English, like a very strong English lady, everyone. I was brought up by my mom. She was she was right by the book. I mean, a very dear lady though. She would she would give anything if she could to people in the area, in her community, or her friends and family that she could. Like it was, she's a very caring lady, but at the same time, if you crossed her the wrong way, she let you know it. She let you know that that things are not right and you need to do better. So I found out that, and I mean, just growing up of trying to do the things the right way. I mean, and the government needs to learn that. I mean, it's obviously, I don't know what happened. I don't know. The government can fix things and get back on track again. Like, let people have confidence that, we live in a great province. Let's show leadership. Let's work together. Let's communicate and say, hey, what is broken? Listen to the advocates. Listen to people with lived experience. Listen to doctors, nurses. They've all said it. My doctor used to tell me, Brent, the medical system is so broken. I'm like, what? Administration costs, red tape, and he closed his practice because of that reason. And now they want to bring more in. But anyway, I'm going to leave it at that, everyone. And
my closing comment, Brent, because you promised a lot of mic drops on today's show. So my final mic drop is that, the government should not be allowed. It should be illegal. It should not be allowed for government to do stupid on purpose. They should not be allowed to do stupid on purpose. And this whole, like, let's ban SGARs, like effective poisons that actually kill mice and rats. Let's ban that. Let's ban that, because we'd rather have this beach of Normandy situation where there's going to be rats and mice like stampeding into like 20,000 condos across BC. We'd rather have that. We'd rather have like rat saliva on people's cornflakes and they'll keel over dead. Like, that's stupid. Like, the government should not be allowed to do stupid, Brent. They should not be allowed to do stupid. So I'm begging David Eby, please don't do stupid. Please. Because I'm scared shitless, David Eby. That's my closing comment. I am scared shitless. Like legitimately, I am scared shitless. And I want him to care enough to stop doing stupid.
Lift the ban, David.
Please, David Eby, lift the ban and stop doing stupid. That's it. I'm out.
Okay. Thanks, Neil, on that. I mean, David, just lift the ban. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, there's
nobody else has it because everybody else is intelligent in this country. Everybody else isn't intelligent, so nobody else has it. We're the only province that's stupid enough to have it.
That's really scary of knowing that that ban was put in place. I mean, it's beyond scary. I mean, hearing your story, Neil, on that and real lived experience situation that you're going through, and I would be scared shitless myself. The government needs to do the right thing, and on so many aspects here. And I welcome members of the government to come on to our show. Conservative government, green parties, anybody, any member of parliament, you want to join in, you're watching this, let me know how you feel about this. And maybe David, maybe everybody will start piling on and saying, hey, this is not working, David. Let's just change course. Whoever your advisor is on this, David.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoever told you to ban rat poison, because rat poison is a bad idea, because rat poison actually will kill rats. So let's not do that. Whoever told you that was a good idea is stupid. Is stupid. Stop doing stupid. Stop doing stupid.
Yeah. I want to see so many positive changes in this province, and it can happen. Get things back up to a certain standard level where people can start enjoying the province that they're in and prosper within the community that they want to be in. It can happen. It can change in so many ways of person's well-being. Everyone should be able to prosper and enjoy life and live a dignified life with all this red tape and BS and reasons why the government can't do this and that. I always say you have a can-do attitude. Yeah, we can do better. No more of this. Oh, well, there's more to do. I hear you. There's more to do. And I'm going to leave it as a mic drop on that part because that's kind of a good segue into our next episode on Monday. Yeah. We're going to have Jeff Leggett from Disability Action of Canada joining me. I'm really looking forward to that. Jeff's going to be, as a kind of a sneak peek, Jeff's going to be talking about our upcoming rally in Victoria, British Columbia later this month. Yeah. He'll be talking about all the details, everything that's going on with that. So I look forward to that, and I really hope everyone enjoyed today's episode. I know there was a lot of mic drops, but just remember that rats can be in your building, or they probably are in your building. You just don't know yet. You won't know until they come out. And how do you get rid of them? You can't. You can't get rid of them.
Not with poison if it doesn't kill them.
No.
If the poison doesn't kill them, it doesn't.
And then you have to hope that those rats don't get into your cornflakes.
Yeah. No, I mean, it sounds like a joke. It sounds like a joke, but it's not a joke. We're literally going to have saliva on cornflakes that's going to kill a bunch of people in condos. And David Eby's going to go, oh well, my bad. Anyway, we dropped
the ball on that one, and so thank you, everyone. Please subscribe, like, and share the content that you're viewing today. Or if you're on the podcast, you can definitely check out the live episode that was airing today, and go and you'll see under the comments section there's a $sign there, and you can just click on it and buy us a coffee.
Yeah, well, you know what? Like it's live right now, but then it goes to sleep for about 24 hours. And then it comes back again after about 24 hours. So you have to kind of, like, they could have donated now because it's live right now, but then it's going to go to sleep and it's going to wake up again. They'll see the dollar bill down below the video there. So
you'll have the opportunity there, and there's lots of different. It'll give you a whole menu, and you can pick what works good for you. And if you want to be a donor, a constant donor to the channel, definitely reach out to Neil. You've got an email address and my email address.
I wonder if David Eby will be a donor.
Well,
I hope David Eby knows that I honestly don't like putting targets on him. Like I honestly am trying to help him. I'm trying to help everybody in this province, honestly, because it feels like I'm the only one that cares. It feels like I'm the only one that cares right now to preserve the life of 1.5 million people that live in strata buildings.
Well, that's why our show is so popular, Neil, because a lot of people say, I love your show. I mean, we spice things up. We try to make it as funny and serious, but funny at the same time. Today's episode, we're talking about things that affect people's lives. And I mean, rats, the rat apocalypse.
It's serious. It's very serious. It's a serious thing.
And when I talk about rates, we're going to be diving into that on our next episode. Homelessness. I mean, I want to see people having enough revenue to have the housing. I mean, there's lots of housing. It's coming on market right now in Vancouver alone. There's 2,000 homes.
that are just empty.
And there could be 3,500 developers.
Because nobody can afford it, Brent. Nobody can afford it.
The rent prices are right through the roof. I mean, nobody's income's that high, but we'll talk another one about
that's another whole podcast, Brent. We'll punch out.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
Cheers. Okay.